to pillow over here. Pick it up. It might come in the... Is it coming in the 3-shot? Just see the 3-shot. Is it coming? No, it's not. It's fine. Yes, we've moved our bedding out of the way because we slept here after the show finished in my imaginary watch about a few minutes ago. But we're back because we're committed. We're committed to the cause. I'm Gaurav Kapur. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. I have Dinesh Karthik here with me. Mr. Bhogle is still sleeping, but luckily we had Joy Bhattacharjya locked in a room in the office here, so we've managed to get him out, dust him off, and make him look pretty nice and shiny this morning. Hello, Joy. How are you?
Next time, leave some water inside, please.
Did we poke a hole in the sleeping bag?
It wasn't nice. It wasn't good.
I'm really sorry. This is a rookie mistake from someone who's been storing bodies for really long. I don't think I should have done that. I've said too much. Let me just start again. Take two. Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live, the only non-morbid cricket show that you will... Whose finger is that? Anyway, we have a game coming up today from Dharamshala. That's why it's a morning game, right? Because in Dharamshala, if you play at night, you could genuinely have some fingers and all lying around because of frostbite. That can happen. It's very cold. So that's why Australia and New Zealand are playing in the morning right now in Dharamshala. Also because they are way ahead. So our friends in New Zealand and Australia can actually watch this game, DK, because those night games they can't watch.
Very true. I think the timing is definitely in favor of both the countries being able to watch it. Both of them have great heritage and their timing of this match is also very good. It is a very interesting match because whoever wins again gets 4 points lead in many ways, and that's where they both want to be. Some interesting changes anticipated for both teams. We'll know, I guess, after the toss. But for the moment, I must say it's a mouth-watering contest in a ground which both will enjoy playing.
Absolutely. And the thing is, we'll look at the points table, Joy, and you will tell us the significance of a win for both teams.
Absolutely. If you look at it from the New Zealand point of view, basically they go up with the leaders. They go to 10, and then this big gap opens between the top 3 and the rest, okay? And Australia sort of stay there and sort of tantalizingly hanging between the lower benchers and the toppers. Yeah. But if Australia win and they go on 8, that gives them a very, very good chance. Because one thing with Australia is, if you look at the previous matches they've played, Australia's played mostly really tough matches.
Yeah.
And New Zealand comparatively have played Afghanistan, they've played Netherlands, and they've, except for Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is not that easy a team considering the way they beat Pakistan, they don't have any easy in that. I'm not saying any World Cup match is easy, but I feel that New Zealand has a tougher draw moving forward.
Fair enough.
So if Australia wins this, Australia will reckon they have a better chance to go to second or third place. And remember, nobody is bothered about being second or third.
Yeah.
Everyone just wants to avoid being fourth. Because fourth is a problem because then you play the first place person. Yeah. So whether you're second or third doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're looking just to qualify. But looking at that points table again, DK, from a tournament point of view, this is what happens. If Australia wins today, we've really got a clear top 4 then, right? Yeah. The delta becomes too much, right? If New Zealand wins, then you still have the top 3, but then the 4th place becomes very interesting because Australia, Sri Lanka, Pakistan may think that, can we? Afghanistan could think, can we? So then that becomes a very interesting mid-table muddle, as I like to call it.
Absolutely. It's a lot like the Formula 1 table. There is a top of the table clash, mid-table clash, and then the bottom just finding its way there. Yeah. So this game going in favor of Australia will make the tournament very, very interesting. The 3rd and 4th place will be up for grabs. You've got to understand, just like what Joyda said, New Zealand play a lot harder matches than Australia. So probably, in theory, Australia have a slightly easier run if Australia managed to win today. Yeah. Whereas New Zealand have to fight really hard because, like you said, Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, more than the other 4 teams, will fancy their chances.
Yeah, they will, and it'll be great. If you were to compare it to F1, there is only one team here which is actually driving in reverse, and that's England, right? So it's not even... It doesn't even have a reverse gear. That's what I thought with an F1 car, with England batting, with England playing one-day cricket. You didn't think there was a reverse gear, but apparently there is. All right, let me not be mean because England's nemesis and rival, Australia, is up today against New Zealand. New Zealand have won the toss, and no surprise, everybody was calling for a chase, a field first, and that's exactly what New Zealand has done. And about the changes that they're bringing today, remember the surface is slightly different in Dharamshala. It will give the bowlers a little bit right in the beginning if they can exploit it, and New Zealand do have the bowlers to exploit that. But let's have a look at their team and see if there are any changes that they have made. Well, just the one. We completely dismissed this change, the possibility of this change last night, DK. James Neesham coming in. We were quite convinced that Tim Southee would come and Mitchell Santner would bat at 7. But no, they've decided to bring Jimmy Neesham.
Dharamshala, conditions favouring the fast bowler a lot more. They haven't used Mark Chapman as off-spinner because Glenn Phillips is the one bowling. Understandable.
But I'm just saying, still, Tim Southee, when you're going bowler again.
No, I think Tim Southee is still not fit.
Oh.
That's why he's not there. I remember seeing his finger and he said he should be okay, but he said still a work in progress. So I think when it comes to Tim Southee and Kane Williamson, they're looking, let them get completely fit because they are the players when we walk into the semi-final.
Yeah.
If we have a couple of good games, which we should.
Yeah.
And hence, let's not risk anything at this stage.
Okay, so Mark Chapman we do know has a niggle, but we were quite convinced even yesterday that Tim Southee would come in, but I guess Tim Southee's not well. So I guess they're just having a tough time making up an 11, right, at this point in time. So James Neesham gets a game. We hope that he's good because, again, with him, there is that, let's translate another Hindi muhavra into English, as I like doing. It is name big, but appearance small. Naam bade, darshan chote. Right?
I mean, his social media appearance is really good. I mean, he's quite fun on social media.
Fair enough. So in case they need him to tweet at number 7.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's belittling him. Decent player. Anyway, look, they're going to bowl first. They have an advantage. He can give them 3-4 overs. He's obviously not going to give them the kind of overs that Southee can.
Yeah.
But he gives them a lot more batting in that position.
Yeah.
Though Southee is much improved as a batsman in the recent past. So all this, I mean, but basically, I think you're absolutely right. If Southee was totally fit, Southee would have been playing.
Correct.
There's
And
no
Jimmy Neesham, of course, in terms of all-round ability, we know his hitting ability. I mean, we've seen the big hits that he can do. And Chapman's not really had that much batting. And again, if you're going to use seam over spin, the captain would definitely want the seam option of James Neesham. But anyway, Chapman was injured, so that rules that out. For Australia, let's see the big news coming in for Australia. It's right at the top because that's where the head is, at the top. Travis Head is back in, which is great news for Australia because he has been in rip-roaring, purplest of purple patches form leading up to, well, just before the World Cup when he got injured. And DK, remember him walking off with that, holding that hand when he was going off the park. And for a lot of people, they thought, okay, there goes, not Australia's World Cup chances, but there goes...
Diminishes.
Yeah, there goes one of the hands that was supposed to lift up those hopes.
True. He was a key player. He set the tone and he batted at a tempo which is quite exhilarating. And Australia made a squad around Head and Warner opening, and you can see his numbers. Average of 48 plus a strike rate of 142 is brilliant. Is as good as you can get. Now, they've chosen a very interesting way to go about things. Marnus Labuschagne wasn't there in the squad at the start of the World Cup, but they've still held on to him because he's been the highest run getter so far. Before Warner has overtaken him now, but he's been a really good batter. They've decided to go away from one of the things that they did is having a fast bowling all-rounder. Green and Stoinis, even though they're fit, they've been asked to wait, so they've gone with deep batting, with probably Travis Head being the off-spinning option along with Glenn Maxwell. If you had asked them 6 months ago what their 11 would be, it would be exactly this, barring 2. One is Alex Carey, they thought would play the World Cup fully, but looks like Josh English is a better option and understandable, he's done well. And they would have had Marcus Stoinis in the 11 without Labuschagne, but now they prefer Labuschagne over Stoinis, if I can say that.
Let's bring the team back so that you can see, because this is a departure from the thinking that we have, what we thought would be Australia's playing 11, would be their formula. But it's not, because they have Mitchell Marsh at 3, which we know what happened, and Steve Smith. That means they're playing Labuschagne at 5. So they've chosen Labuschagne over Stoinis or Green at number 5. Josh English could play at 5 and Labuschagne at 6. Glenn Maxwell, Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, Adam Zampa, George Hazelwood. I, for one joy, am surprised, to be honest.
No, firstly, Maxwell is not going to bat there. Maxwell is not going to bat where they're showing at 7.
Not 7?
He's definitely going to bat higher than that. But
after his 100, he should demand
definitely going to bat higher than that. But you're absolutely right. Every one of us thought that they'll have one pivot player.
Yeah.
One guy who's going to bat around. So it's either going to be Steve Smith, and then when Labuschagne came in, okay, Steve Smith, Labuschagne, you're going to choose between these two. The fact that they're playing both on a ground like this, okay, is telling us that, look, in this situation, they want to play safe first. I mean, with those batsmen, with more explosive batsmen, they could get 300, 350s, 370.
Yeah.
But even if they get 300 and they have solid batsmen, if there's a collapse, 2-3 down, Bolt starts getting early wickets, Here you have the kind of people who can stabilize it. You'll reach that 260, 270. So it's a safer option. It's a more boring option, but it's a safer option, I think. And they are always, Australia is always, because New Zealand punch above their weight. Normally they punch even higher above their weight when it comes to Australia, because they have that special thing over this Trans-Tasman rivalry.
Yeah.
So this is a match New Zealand will be totally up for. And they know that their schedule is tougher later.
Yeah, fair
They need
enough.
to take them down now.
I just want to look at that Australia team again, because here's what you're looking at. You're looking at your 4 solid bowlers, and I guess Zampa coming back into form is also something that allows them to play one less kind of bowling option. Here, they're obviously looking at Travis Head bowling as well, maybe getting a few overs from Mitchell Marsh, because otherwise, if you don't, out of these two, means Glenn Maxwell becomes your 5th bowler, DK.
True. So there's a lot of pressure on Zampa when that happens. But in all fairness to Glenn Maxwell, he's been a very good bowler.
Yeah.
But what is very alarming, and Australia will be aware of it, is it's a very right-hand dominated batting lineup.
Yeah.
If you see from numbers 3 to 7, all are right-handers.
Yeah.
So what that does too is the likes of Rachin Ravindra and Mitchell Santner to control the proceedings a lot more, and they have been their best bowlers through the middle. So that is a challenge for Australia today.
Yeah, and Australia is going to be batting first, so we're going to see Travis Head in action pretty soon. But David Warner, let's talk about David Warner, because, it's joy, it's cometh the hour, cometh the man. He's like a bull, right? He's like that prize fighter. It's almost like he wants to be put in the corner, so then that gets the best out of him.
He's been so superb the last 2 matches. And that's the point, that he's come good because, again, he's a street fighter, exactly as you said.
Yeah.
He's not the technically most proficient, most correct. But given a situation, and you remember, whenever you had a match like against Netherlands, you say, he will curse himself if he does not get 100 out here, because he knows he'll grind you down. So today, he'll be telling himself, if I can survive the first 5-6 overs, and that's all he'll do, the rest I'll make it count. Because that's perfectly for him. He is very strong mentally, knows exactly what he needs to do under these conditions. He'll give the first 5-6 overs to the bowlers, but after that, he will attack on a ground that's this small, altitude, the ball flying around. He reckons that if he gets through that period, he's going to make it count.
Yeah, he's like I don't know if you remember He-Man. Did you ever see He-Man when you were a kid, DK?
I think he's just past his generation.
No,
Really?
I haven't. Though I had a pencil box which had a He-Man. I don't know. I've not.
Okay, I don't know if the battering ram was on the pencil box, but Joy, do you remember there was a battering ram?
Yeah, absolutely.
And David Warner reminds me of that battering ram, right?
Head down.
Head down, and there was a spring. The legs were springs. They were toing, 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 and boom, goes in like that. So that's him. If he can just use those 5-6 overs to kind of bounce and build some inertia, then he goes head first into the bowlers.
A great analogy and very true as well, because if he does get past those 5-6 overs, he is as destructive as it can get. He's in fact been very, very good through the first 5-6 in terms of hitting boundaries. So it's going to be very interesting how they take on. Left-arm medium pacer has been an area where he at times can nick off a bit. So that's a good matchup first up. And for me, Matt Henry is the bowler to watch out for. He's been bowling brilliantly.
Yeah.
He gets the ball to move both ways. The other day, Mr. Rohit Gurunath Sharma just took him on and just pushed him out of what he's good at. But in these conditions, he'll be a handful, especially first up. They don't want to lose a couple early.
I want to just talk about Matt Henry. I want to talk about the New Zealand bowling. But let's run through the Australia batting first, because what a happy problem to have. You have all your openers in great form. I mean, Travis Head, I know he's coming back after a while, but there is no question mark about his pedigree, about his temperament, about his talent, about his ability to take on big opposition on a big stage. Then you have Mitchell Marsh, who's done so well. David Warner's going, yeah, I'm fine. Bring me Head, bring me Marsh. I'm doing well with both of them. And then Marsh just slots into number 3. So New Zealand is looking at that batting lineup and saying, if we have this 1, 2, 3 is all destructive. You know that with 4 and 5, maybe you can control proceedings because if 3 wickets fall, you know Smith and Labuschagne will probably put the brakes on and consolidate. But if these top 3 get going and they don't get 2 out of these 3, they are in proper trouble, like we used to talk about India with Sharma, Gill and Virat.
Exactly, it's the same. It's a very destructive top 3. It's important because you're right. If they have to control overs, but I think DK has also made a vital point, which is that if, on the other hand, you're stuck with 2 right-handers in a situation where after that you haven't got too many runs, you've lost a few wickets, so they can't really push the pace, then Santner and Ravindra could really clamp them down.
Yeah, that's their only hope for New Zealand to slow things down. For Australia, because otherwise if these top 3 get going, they'll really, and that opening partnership, him and Marsh, Warner and Mitchell Marsh, that opening partnership, which was what, a week back, 10 days back. Geez, that was just with both of them getting centuries, DK. That was that day you did not want to be a fielder.
Yeah, and you did not want to be Pakistan either. They went through that. It is hard. And the good thing about Warner and Marsh is why they complement each other whenever they bat together is Warner is very good square of the wicket. Yeah. Marsh is very good down the ground. So as a bowler, you have to adjust your lengths. Add to the fact that one's a left-hander, one's a right-hander. It becomes even more challenging. So it's a very hard group to bowl to, a group of batters, if I may say that. So it is a very healthy partnership. Head, on the other hand, is very different, but he complements, again, David Warner very interestingly. Head puts away good balls, and he's willing to take huge risks at the top. Like, he will play shots where you're going, wow, no, they'll nick off, and you'll be like, fine, that's okay. So Australia have lived by the sword in many ways in that kind of period, and sometimes it hasn't worked out, but when they get going, boy, they're quite an opening pair. I mean, they could easily be one of the most destructive opening pairs. There is obviously Rachin Ravindra, Devon Conway, who are very different mold. They won't like thrash you. But these two buggers can really be like, wow, as a captain, you're thinking, okay, now what do I do, boss? Like, what's the field you want me to set? Because you'll head into a T20 field set very quickly. You'll see there'll be a sweeper cover, deep square leg, and you're saying, okay, boss, boundary mat maar, thoda single le le. You get into that kind of mindset very early with them.
You know, when Head got injured, it looked like the Australian batting was a little headless for a few days, but they've got it together in the last few. So him coming in is a real booster shot for them. It makes a great batting lineup even better. And let's talk about the lottery. You know, we know, lottery is allowed in some states in India. Today in Himachal, there's going to be, you've heard about it, right? The Maxwell Bumper Lottery. You can only buy a ticket if you're Australian, right? And Maxwell Bumper Lottery, one day is going to give you $100 million, and one day it's going to pick your pocket, right? Which day is it going to be today?
Yeah, it's a big one. But I'll tell you one thing. Maxi is a streaky player.
Yeah.
When he's on and he's off, the Big Show, as he calls himself, and he's one of the people who gives his own nickname. I mean, he doesn't need other people to give a nickname, and I'm the Big Show, you know. And so when he gets going, he's streaky. 4, 5, 6 innings he puts it together because he's a confidence player.
Yeah.
A lot of it is here. He's always had the talent. Nobody's ever doubted Maxwell's had the talent, but he's gone an IPL without hitting a 6.
Oh, really? The entire season, right?
Yeah, he's got an IPL without hitting a 6.
In Chinnaswamy?
Yeah.
I mean, Chahal backs himself to hit a 6 in Chinnaswamy.
Delhi. I think it was Delhi.
Oh, it was Delhi. Right. Not Chinnaswamy.
Yeah. And then next season, he'd hit 3 6 in the first match and it's all over. You know,
yeah.
That's the kind of player himself. Nobody doubts Maxwell's talent. Everyone is just wondering in his head which Maxwell is turning up today. Right now, given the kind of runs he scored, and the fact that, and DK spoke a lot about this, very interesting point he made, that marriage has sort of calmed him down, made him more solid. Yeah. And I think that he's looking like superb now.
DK, you've spent time with him. Talk us through. I mean, he's fascinating. I find Glenn Maxwell fascinating because on days like the other day, right? I remember I got off a flight. I checked. He was on like 7. By the time I got into the car and put the thing on, it was like he's 50 already. I'm like, what just happened? I didn't even have check-in baggage. It was a handbag. And in that much time. The days he's on, it is like this guy is unstoppable. And the days he's off, it's like you can't start this scooter on a winter morning even if you kick it 10 times.
He's an enigma in many ways. It's very hard to figure out which way he'll go. But the one thing he will do consistently is be very positive. Okay. Like in Pakistan, first ball he got out, trying to play a big shot. The next game he comes and scores 144 balls. So that is Maxwell for you. Off the field, people don't know, but he's a cricket nuff, proper, like full on. He's watching county cricket. Lancashire is what he plays for. He's watching that. And when he goes there, he not only helps people in terms of practice, he helps a lot of young boys and girls. And really, anybody walks up to him, he is happy to help. He talks cricket, lives cricket. He just does everything. He likes a bit of Australian football, but that's about it. He loves cricket. He literally breathes it 24 hours. So very hard worker. Even in practice, if he misses a shot, he'll abuse himself. And he's that kind of guy. Very hard on himself. You should not be very close to him as soon as he gets out, because when he comes in, things fly. So it's better to stay away for a bit. But he's quite the person, a hard, fierce personality on the field, and he gives it all. And he's a great cricketer to have, good cricket brain to have. And as I said, there are going to be days when you're not going to get much out of him, but the days you do end up getting, more often than not, will find yourself in a comfortable position. But because he plays at a great strike rate, and he is never selfish. He's always looking to do what is required for the team.
That's why I call him Maxwell Maha Bumper Lottery, right? The day your number comes, you're a millionaire, baby. Ka-ching! All right, but New Zealand will be hoping that their bowlers can, get the lottery going in their favour. And one of the bowlers, I'll tell you something, right? In this, first of all, this New Zealand, I love this New Zealand team. I remember I'd done a podcast once with Simon Dole where we had analyzed this theory that New Zealand is everybody's second favorite team after their own team, right? They're just the nice guys of cricket. They play below the radar, they just get it done. It's no fuss, they're likable people. They have a captain like Kane Williamson who you can't, I mean, you've got to have a boulder for a heart to not like Kane Williamson. And then within their team, there are performers who go so below the radar. Matt Henry has played 2 World Cup finals, right? You know, it was one of those family feud questions. And 10 or 100 people were asked, how many World Cup finals has Matt Henry played? And 99 said, 1, 0. He's played 2 World Cups. So he's played 15 and 19. So this guy is a seasoned performer. So that's why what he's doing in this World Cup should not come as a surprise to any cricket nerd.
He is a very underrated fast bowler. He's bowling at the top of his game now. He represented Somerset in NatWest Blast and he was their top wicket taker, helped the team win the competition. That's a tough competition because it happens over 2 months and you play matches here and there anyway. He was their best fast bowler. So what he did learn, or rather what he enhanced in terms of his bowling, was the ability to not only take the ball out but also seam it back in. Now that is a wicket taking ball and that's why he's got wickets. Even in this India game, because they were scared that we will get out, which I did in 2019 World Cup. I got out to Matt Henry. He's a pretty handful to deal with because he swings the ball both ways and can seam it back in. So he's been their best fast bowler with the new ball. Trent Bolt is one of the greatest, but still he's been better than him this year, this World Cup.
Yeah, Trent Bolt has been a little off color, but if there was ever conditions, an opponent that brings out the best in you, a morning game, if there's ever, mauka hai, dastoor hai kind of situation, it's this morning he can really turn it around.
Yeah. I mean, I want to start off by saying that I totally agree with you on New Zealand. I mean, they're the Sudhamurti of teams, too humble, too nice, quiet out there.
I like
it. Doesn't do too much at all. And within them also, we have this problem because, see, Matt Henry, one of the problems with fast bowling, how we look at it is, we associate fast bowling with speed, okay? But if you really see the guys who've been the most successful fast bowlers, not necessarily they've been the fastest. Yeah. I mean, Sean Tate was the fastest bowler for a long, long time. And Glenn McGrath has barely ever crossed 135.
Yeah.
But he's got the wickets because it's what you do with the ball. Or Jimmy Anderson, he's not really a tearaway. Fair. So the glamour is with the tearaway guys. But Matt Henry, what he does with the ball both ways and, his craft is absolutely perfect. And similarly, you have the situation, we're talking about Bolt again. In conditions like this, the ability for a left-hander to swing the ball back, and Bolt will be looking at it and saying, if anywhere in this subcontinent that I'm going to play, I'm going to get some help, it's going to be in the morning, and it's going to be up here, probably I have a good chance of getting a little bit of swing out here. So he, on this kind of pitch, would say, I'm going to take my opportunity, and he's that kind of player as well.
It's so amazing that DK and me were smiling because just yesterday with Virender Sehwag in our Hindi studio, we were having a conversation about fast bowling and effective bowling, right? About accuracy. And he was also saying, he says Shoaib Akhtar, yes, was very fast, but his record is not half as good as, some of the other guys who are probably 10, 15 kilometers, slower. So it's quite a... So you were here. You could hear us when I locked you in that room.
Yeah, absolutely. It was loud.
I guess sound travels even if water, food and air did not. All right. But again, the other thing good for New Zealand is with their bowling. And obviously, with Matt Henry, we were talking about Matt Henry. He's been effective in the middle overs as well. But even Santner, how good has Mitch Santner been, right?
I wish I could give a Hindi analogy for it. I don't know. But I'll say that he is the most underrated bowler in world cricket.
Okay.
When we were asked before the tournament who the highest wicket taker would be, I put in a word for, I said either for Haris Rauf or Kuldeep Yadav.
Okay.
And I actually admonished myself for not choosing Mitchell Santner because I know deep down that I felt like he was going to have a good tournament. And he just proved it right. The two best spinners in this World Cup so far, and have gone under the radar, I don't know why, has actually been Keshav Maharaj and Mitchell Santner, who have done a fabulous job for their team. Mitchell Santner has got the wickets. Keshav Maharaj has done exactly what South Africa needs whenever they bowl first. It's been under lesser pressure a lot of the times. But anyway, let's speak about Mitchell Santner.
Yeah. What makes him so good? What makes him so effective?
So he does two things. One, he varies where he bowls from, center of the box, wide of the box. And the second part of his variation is his speed. With very little difference in arm speed, he's able to bowl a quicker one and the one that goes slower. So as a batter, it is not easy to line him up.
Okay.
He's not a big turner of the ball,
yeah,
but he has variations which will trouble the best in the world. A very similar bowler to Daniel Vettori.
Okay.
In terms of varying speed and varying where he lands in the box. So he is a handful to deal with. He is generally, if there's a little bit of turn, forget it. Mitchell Santner is going to eat you up on most days. This pitch won't help him so much, so it'll be comparatively easier. But there's plenty of right-handers, and he always fancies himself against right-handers a lot more. Till now in this tournament, there'll be a close fight between him and Jadeja for the best fielder in the tournament. There's no doubt about that.
That's it. I see them both Chennai boys, right? The same. They can, they bat, they bowl. Again, the bowling is the same. Not big turners. Pitch helps. They eat up the batters. And they are very clever with line and length and, where to use the crease, etc. And both gun fielders.
Jadeja is the better batter in white ball cricket.
Yeah.
Santner definitely the better bowler in white ball cricket. But what you can't choose from is their fielding. It's really hard to say who's better. He's got the catch of the tournament, for sure.
Yeah.
Against Bangladesh, running backwards and flying and taking single-handed backwards. And Jadeja has taken a good catch as well. But Santner is a different beast. I hope you remember the run-out Surya Kumar. He just threw without seeing the ball. He's quite the guy. He's a handicap, I think, +1 if I'm right in golf. Wow. He's a natural sportsman.
Oh, wow. And really doesn't, like the way he walks out doesn't work, because you know that they were natural athletes, like A.B. de Villiers, they walk like this.
Yeah.
He also looks like very nerdy, like you'll find him in the library.
He's a New Zealander. What do you expect?
Again, what do you expect?
And look, Stephen Fleming regards him as a future New Zealand captain. And he talks about him for a long time. See, the other great thing about him, why he also fits into CSK setup and the New Zealand setup, you sit him out for 10 matches because, they can't fit him in the top 4 players for the... It doesn't matter to him.
Yeah.
He's there, he'll come, he'll practice hard, he'll wear the bib, go out and give you. He's not going to have any attitude. So he's perfect. And they look at him as, it's like a veterinary, a future New Zealand captain. Has the brains, understands the game, is a total game geek. And he has the entire package.
Him and Trent Boult are the 2 fittest cricketers in New Zealand. When I say fit,
Proper fit.
I'm telling you.
Proper fit.
They could run from here to Colaba without losing their breath. That kind of fit. Crazy guys.
I just want to tell you that we are in Mumbai. We are about for 12 kilometers away from Colaba, and the AQI is 300. So if they can run from here to Colaba and still have their lungs with them, I think that's the big thing. I love what Joy said to wrap that conversation up, is that New Zealand is the Sudha Murthy of world.
They're so humble, quiet.
But none of their partners work for 70 hours a week. I've been to New Zealand, I'll tell you that. Nobody works for 70 hours a week.
Nicely done, Zach. Nicely done, GK.
Did you just...
I stayed all night. I've been up all night sitting in that room you've locked me in.
I'll tell you what, as far as compliments go, I'll take Zach. No problem. I'll take that compliment. All right. Though it would be, you could be much nicer to me and to DK by giving just once in 100 days a joy factor question that we actually know the answer to. Oh, Daniel Vittori's name is there. Yeah. That is so...
If Daniel Vettori, Ravi Shastri and Enamul Haq Jr. are the youngest to achieve this feat, for New Zealand, India and Bangladesh, who is it for Australia? I think you guys have an idea. We shall discuss this.
6 sixes? What is Ravi Shastri? Champion of champions?
Something to do with left arm spin and young.
Yeah.
Both played when they were young. Something there. I'm thinking Ashton Agar maybe. I don't know.
Okay. We know that it's all left arm, right?
Yeah. Left arm young is all I can equate all 3 to, but we could be completely wrong. It's a Joyda question, so
That's right. Joyda's question is, it's always a turning track here. No idea what's happening. It's a turning track, it's seaming, it's bouncing. One ball is surra also. Surra. Do you know what surra is? Do you remember? Surra. Everybody knows surra. It's the same. It's everywhere. All right. We right now are going to bowl bounces at each other because trying to guess the score in a 50-over game is like getting a bouncer to the head without a helmet. But we still attempt it day in and day out. Australia are batting first in Dharamshala. How many are they going to get? We start with you, DK.
280.
280. I like it.
261.
260. So which means 270 is wide open. I'm going to take it.
Okay.
I'm going to take it. 260, 270, 280. Those are our score guesses. What are yours? Tell us, tweet your answer of the Joy Factor question in case you know it, even if it's a guess. Hashtag Joy Factor. Send it to us on X. And we, of course, will see you at the end of the 15th over with Cricbuzz Combox. A big thank you to Dinesh Karthik and Joy Bhattacharjya. Thank you so much. Thank you. We are going to go and just make sure that our breakfast wrappers are still lying over there. The sleeping bag is not rolled up. Okay, we've got to clean up right now. But we're going to see you in a bit. Thank you for watching Cricbuzz Live. Bye-bye.